Hey everybody, it's Bus with Battles with Bus number 291, and today we're doing battle in a daily rumble, standard best of three. And so, if you're not familiar with the channel, the way I like to handle these best of three videos is I'll talk about the lineup, but not the specific deck lists themselves. We have videos littered throughout the channel of these individual deck lists if you want a guide on the individual deck, but prefer to talk more about the best of three strategy that we're looking to take here. And so, if you don't care about that, if you want to skip on to the gameplay, we are going to be playing Sunburn, the Katarina Leona deck. We're going to be playing Pantheon Shyvana, and we're going to be playing my favorite new brew, Illaoi Kayn. And so, to kind of get you familiar with what's happening here, this is my second daily rumble. I 6-1'd the previous one with this same lineup. And the course of the 7 matches, the Sunburn deck got banned every single time. And so what I'm really kind of like looking to do with this lineup is we're not going to have much success against triple aggro, but triple aggro is fairly weak right now at the moment with the nerfs to Jinx and the nerfs to Katarina. We aren't seeing nearly as much of it, and it kind of leaves you in a space to where there are aggro decks that are kind of on the rise, things like Narzigs or whatever the random Vandal City Noxus offering is. There's like 4 or 5 people at the top of Masters that have played it to get there. I don't think that there's a very good decks. I think if you find yourself playing like Annie Gen or Tokens, you're really kind of scrounging the depths. Like I think you can get a good deck in Pirates, but not a good 3-deck lineup. And so we're just kind of hoping to avoid the triple aggro strategies, and then otherwise we're pretty good at picking on the mid-rangey decks of the format. The decks that that are counting on either damage for their removal, so things like darkness-based decks or Ezreal Seraphine-based decks that are all just doing points of damage, they tend to struggle with lineups like this, and then the decks that don't interact very well tend to struggle with these as well. If we're able to just kind of unabashedly go big, our strategy tends to be a little bit bigger than what the other people are doing. And so that's the idea. For the most part, I would just call this a good decks lineup. I don't think that we're looking to be all aggressive, and we're not trying to pick on any particular deck. I would probably firmly plant this one into the good decks portion. And so to go to those decks really quick, first and foremost, we are playing Katarina, the Sunburn deck. If you followed along with us with the channel, this is the same list that we've played for the past few weeks or so. It's the same one that we took to Seasonals. I think it's still in a pretty good space, even with the nerf to Katarina. The only thing I'm kind of considering with this deck is if I want to flex in a copy of Hush. That kind of depends on how much Illaoi you're going to be seeing. You do function fairly well against Illaoi with all of the stuns, but you can't stop an open attack with your stuns. And so the Hush does give you the opportunities to stop quite a bit of their attacks, and I'm kind of considering pushing it in. But as it is right now, still quite happy with the lineup. Deck number 2, this is Shyvana Pantheon. We played this one a couple of videos ago. We are looking to use the upgraded Shyvana along with the Wounded White Flame to really key in on Faded and have this really strong kind of mid-game push with that standard OTK finish that you get out of Pantheon. The kind of bonus to playing this as opposed to something like Pantheon Varus is that you have the Wounded White Flame, which just doesn't suck, right? You're really kind of all in on your champions playing the Pantheon Varus version. Adding in this gives us access to the Wounded White Flame, and then as we're also looking to play Demacia, we get access to a pretty powerful removal package with the single combats and the cataclysms, and then we also get access to the rallies and the golden Aegis. So all in all, I've been quite happy with this one as well. The big shocker, the big crazy one that we're playing today is Illaoi Kayn. This is the deck I've been grinding quite a bit on the ladder with. I've gotten quite familiar with this. I don't want to say that it's the best deck in the world, but this is the version of Illaoi that I've gotten to be quite happy with. And so I'm going to put together a full video on Illaoi Kayn tomorrow. But to kind of get you freshened up and with the idea that we're trying to do here is I've been working towards making Kayn not terrible in this format because the cultist cards are so good between playing Momentous Choice, Furious Wielder, and the Unforgiven Cold. These cards are just exceptionally strong. The problem is playing all of the cultists kind of sucks. But what if you just look at Kayn as a good champion that gives you kind of his own faction? And that leaves us in a pretty decent space here as to where we get to play all of these good utility kind of cards, and just kind of looking at cultists as being a faction instead of having to say play Demacia or play Ionia. And so the big things that we do get out of this are the Unforgiven Cold, which is one of the best kind of big unit stoppers in the game, and then the Expanse's Protection as the means as we're out here battling decks trying to kill your units with vengeances and such. Having access to the cheap spell shield is incredibly powerful. Some of the other things that you run into issues with playing Illaoi decks is just not having enough stuff to do in the early game. Adding in the Cultist package does give us access to the Forsaken Bakai, who can then really help us smooth out our draws. And so it can come down, trade, and then get that predict in to help us get the tentacles in the early game, or find some of our one-ups for the late game, whether or not it's Nagakaboros or a strike or a champion, some card draw in the Eye of Nagakaboros, whatever. It's a very powerful utility card. The kind of oddball in the deck is going to be the Darkened Harpoon, and I will say I have played Illaoi quite a few times. I've been surprised by the number of times that he's come on the board and been quite relevant. This card is mainly here just because we need additional equipment. We really want the equipment to activate all of our cultist cards, but it can come in and draw you a card or two. It can let you block a fearsome. You can commonly put the Harpoon onto the Sea's Voice, so the Sea's Voice doesn't just get blocked by opposing units, and it gives us a nice little bit of utility while still having that late game splash in the Illaoi. And so, those are the decks. That's what we're going to be doing battle with today. You know what we're going to do before the battles begin, though. We got to go and pay the pay-to-win price. And there was one in here. It's the Eye of the God, the Hand of the God, whatever it is. We are going to premium up the Illaoi equipment because we're going to have to play her in every single match. So it's quite important to be ready for that to turn up. I do suspect, again, that we're going to jump into these matches, and then they're just going to ban out the battle academics, the battle academias, and make us play these two big bruiser decks every time, if you will. And so, let's go ahead, jump on in, get yourselves ready, strap in for about a 3-hour video, and let's see what we can do. And so, okay, reasonable set of stuff here. The one that worries me the most out of these is going to be Ash. Now, the Pirates matchup isn't that great. The Pirates is able to just get a lot wider than our decks. The way I like to kind of describe the Pirates matchup is, you know, if we have like a 10-10 Tentacle and a 10-10 Illaoi, and then they're just like having 6-3 attack units on the board, you're still going to get domed for like 12 and they kill you very easily. But everything that we're doing does get shut down by Ash, so we're going to go ahead and just take her out. Now we get to come over here. They, of course, ban out our Sunburn deck, leaving us to play with our bruisers. All right, Pirates up and at us. I'm much happier to play this deck against Pirates than playing Illaoi. Again, Illaoi, it does feel a little bit better when you have access to the 1-mana cultist thing, whatever that predict unit is called, but much easier to get a little bit of early board width playing with this deck as opposed to Illaoi. All right, get in here, Mountain Goat. Do your thing. Here, I'm just going to prevent the damage. I'm going to come and throw the Mountain Goat in front of the Pigeon if we can. Oh, he did just hit all 1 health units, though, so he probably can't boost his Pigeon here. Oh my gosh, and he just blanks. That can't be right. That can't be the way that you're supposed to be playing Pirates. I'm not going to complain about it. I'll take the W when we can get it, but I don't think that's going to be considered optimal very frequently. And so with that in mind, I'm taking the quick attack. I kind of feel like we really want the tough, because it's going to give us a little bit more resilience against this board. But I was going for the quick attack because I feel like we can kind of get him, and he's going to actually come out here and block when he shouldn't be. So That didn't quite come together. I think it's okay. We'll go for the Wandering Shepherd here. I do like to bank up a little bit of mana to try and get one of these equipments going if we can. Now we're still looking pretty strong. Bird number 2, we can't do anything about that, but we can start... Oh boy, all the units coming in. This is pretty painful. A little bit more aggressive than I was expecting out of the Pirates. What are we taking here? 11? Oh boy. This is... I thought things were going to at least turn the corner there, but that big splashing of units was quite impressive. You're really kind of hoping they just play a misfortune there. But we'll continue on. And so I think we need to just get the Shyvana in. We're probably going to have to drop a dragon in, but I do like the idea that we can potentially kill 2 units here. If he's going to get a little crazy, like I was kind of thinking may happen in a previous turn, if we can like attack with Shyvana and he blocks with something when he doesn't need to, then I kind of feel like we might get that to happen and then still get a good Cataclysm in. But this is a space where I typically don't recommend these attacks. Like when we attack with the Wandering Shepherd, it does give the opponent the opportunity now to just get wider than us, right? We can't play any more units this turn, but he does have the opportunity to play more stuff. And so if he's starting to add more dudes to the board, that's not a very good trade. But I kind of felt like we were going to get his biggest unit out of the way there. And that was going to be the one that we were just going to have to block anyways. And so looks like he doesn't have any further plays. That's pretty good. But with the way this is sequenced out and him not playing any units on that turn, I'm pretty certain we're just going to get decimated here. We have to hit a Lifesteal Pantheon next turn. So let's get him down now. We can play the Pantheon. We can play an equipment. I think we're still just dead here. Looks like 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we should be dead out of this one. Oh my gosh, and he doesn't attack? Oh man. Oh wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, we aren't going to get to flip the Pantheon this way, that's for certain, but we just we have to take it. We have to take what's being given to us here. Let's see. Let's load up Pantheon with the quick attack so we can still hit with everybody. I think we should be able to attack with all of our units here. Come in and take down Zap. This cat's going to annoy the shit out of me. She's sitting on my feet again. Nope. Get out of here. I know. We're trying to play video games. Whoa, what is this? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That feels like another victory for another victory for our squad. Get out of here, cat. If you're not familiar with a bust video, this comes up a lot. You gotta you gotta deal with these cats. Oh my goodness, that's good. That's good. So we can block everything on board. We can survive a decimate. That all sounds wonderful to me. Let's move on to this next turn, see if we can't hit a lifesteal on Pantheon and do something sweet.
Where's my axe?
So I'm going to go with the stun first. The thing that worries me here is we would like to rally, but if we play the rally, it gives him a chance to get wider than us. And so we have to try and shut down his units for just a moment. And now we're looking decent, right? We hit the lifesteal on Pantheon. If we get to gain 9, this game is done. So we still have the same width as opponent, so we can drop in the Golden Aegis. Oof. Oof, fam. I don't know how you feel about this, but this seems pretty good. Nice. Just straight up lethal. Nothing wrong with that. Okay. Whew. Don't feel like we would deserve that one. I don't think we would have been gifted those opportunities on the ladder, but it's what happens in the tournament mode, you know? All right. So Shyvana, a success. Now we get to show off our Illaoi Kayn. Now this is I've been having a lot of fun with this. I've been trying to push this into Masters. I've kind of got myself in this space now in terms of laddering and having two accounts as to where I have kind of a serious account in this one and then kind of a fuck around and find out account for the other one. And I'm trying to get this one up into Masters so we can just hang out up there for a little bit. But you run into this kind of odd space as to where there's a lot of difference between the bottom end and the top end of Masters, and I'd kind of like to keep a little bit of separation there. So with this, I typically don't recommend picking up the Darken. That's not something that you really need to be doing, but this is a deck to where the stats are pretty important, and having a little bit of an opportunity to try and shut down a 3-power unit on this turn is a huge deal. Oh boy. Oh boy, interesting. Well, I'm going to load it up so we can try and open attack. The ideal thing that would happen here is we get to open with the Bakai, trade next turn, and then Tentacle Smash whatever he plays afterwards. Right? Because this should give us a 4/4 Tentacle at the end of the day. He's going to come in and block for certain. No tricks, not surprised. Now he just plays like a 3/3. Might get to draw a card here, right? It might be a Vanguard Redeemer, sure. But him not having any board here is huge. This is where they're trying to get like Vanguard Bannermans on the board. Sharp Sight would suck for us, don't get me wrong. But if this is actually successful, then we're just in like such a huge advantage. Yep. That's okay, though. Still leaves us in a spot to where we can block this unit with Illaoi next turn and start doing Kayn-based shenanigans. No shenanigans better than Kayn-based shenanigans, don't get me wrong. Those are the best kind, the best ones.
My journey continues.
Sure.
I've trained for this.
That's it. Sweet. So the thing we'll have to worry about a couple turns from now, in his next attack, he's going to come at us with a Jarvan. That's like most certainly going to happen. But between having the Momentous Choice now and the Unforgiven Cold, we should be able to handle it pretty safely. Now with this, I think we want to bring in a Cythria. If he has like, I mean, if he has a Riposte, I guess he's got us. But I don't think that that's, you know, typically in the cards. I mean, I guess you could have a back-to-back. That would shut us down pretty hard. But it's just not things that this deck typically plays.
It's dangerous out there. Take this.
All right, not bad.
We must all do our duty.
And Jarvan. Let's hang on to the Momentous Choice. I don't think it's important to take down the Vanguard Squire here. All right, now Kayn ready to do Kayn stuff. He's bigger than Jarvan, so we should be able to just take him down next turn.
The undoing draws near.
Yes, yours.
Now, one of the interesting things you'll see with this Illaoi deck here is where you put the Eye of the God. And what gets awkward with this is if you start to put it on Illaoi, which is a common place to have it land, she's going to attack. Her, like, all of the attack abilities happen left to right, but her level up thing happens first. So she's going to attack, she's going to spawn. This thing is going to happen to where the tentacles get boosted, or she gets boosted off the tentacle, and then the equipment happens after the fact. It's a little bit awkward. But it's important to kind of realize how that goes. Now here, do we want to spew? Do we want to drop double Momentous Choice to just trade for the Jarvan? I'm kind of on board with it. It's just a bit of a failure if he has another trick. Like, Illaoi is not super important here, but this does give him the Jarvan flip. And we don't have any more... I'm just going to go for it. But we don't have any more tricks after this. So we can get through a tough... We can't get through a sharp sight, can't get through, like, a riposte. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Single combat onto the guy. Ooh, that kind of sucks. Okay, though. So he'll get the flip out of Jarvan, but then he's going to die to Illaoi. Our board's kind of okay here. Not great. It's not ideal, but kind of okay. Let's see what's coming up next. We don't want any of this stuff. We need card draw. We need big, expensive things. So we'll let this one go. I do want to make an attack this round. Is the next thing to go with this. And so he is going to be able to trade the Squire for the Sea's Voice, but then our Tentacle will be growing here. And I'm fine to trade the Bakai with anything. Again, as he looks to come out and play things like Vanguard Bannerman, it's a nice win if we get a trade here. Okay. So at the end of the day, not terrible. He's got two pretty low quality units. He's not threatening lethal anytime soon. We have a rally in hand and a decent equipment. And we got a Nagakaboros. Nice draw. Just pretty much one of the absolute best things we could hope to pick up here. Beautiful. Nagakaboros before me, right? You gotta start saying shit like that. Ooh, definitely feel safe now with the Unforgiven Cold. All right.
Still so much to learn.
You went out? Go. More cat-related problems in the lands of Bust. Cat just hanging out, clawing on the door because she wants out. You open the door and she just stares at it. So, well done, Cat. Well played. And we got him. GG. Market a W for Bust. All right, so not bad, not bad. We didn't get to showcase a ton of the Illaoi Kayn there, a lot of the cool stuff that comes up with it, but we did get Illaoi on, or we did get Kayn on board, really threatening a lot of stuff out of a deck with minimal interaction, and so that's cool. No complaints. Okay, so what do we got here? I'm not going to ban Rise. The Tristana Gnar is the deck I was talking about earlier as to being the aggressive thing that that's landing up in the top of Masters these days. This is one I'm just going to ban out. I'm happy enough to play against Illaoi with any of our decks, and I have no respect for Rise. And so still, I like to kick things off with Pantheon here, but I think all of these matchups are pretty reasonable. All right, so what do we got? Reasonable start, reasonable start. We got some interactivity. I think we do want to hang on to the single combat. I was initially like, well, this deck doesn't really play any units, but it is nice to be able to take down the Eye of the Dragon. Let's get in there. Totes my goats ready to battle. Get the wounded white flame into the gem, into the equipment start. Pretty strong, pretty powerful. The opposing deck does have ways to deal with that. They have a lot of bounce spells coming out of this deck, but I'm okay with that. I think we're reasonable. See if you hit that damage rune. Spell mana. Not bad. Get quite a bit of ramp happening there. This is going to be an interesting next turn, and how how much do we want to invest in this White Flame? I think we want to switch. I think we want to put the Wandering Shepherd onto the Mountain Goat and not just get fully invested into the Wounded White Flame. I want to get just like a little bit of health onto the Mountain Goat, and then hopefully opponent doesn't have enough to deal with it. The thing that'll be like a little painful in this turn is going to be if they have a whatchamacallit, the burst unit. His name is clearly slipping me, but the tail of the dragon. There it goes. It came to me. But let's see what we can do here. We get our Faded onto the Wounded White Flame. It grows in size. It should take down the Fey Folk and survive, then get a Fury out of it. And then, if he wasn't stunned, we would get to chunk in that extra damage, but building up a nice board here. This looks good. This is just the deck, like, when you come at this Rise from like a strategy standpoint, you don't want to be just going super tall on one unit, right? He's going to have the capabilities to he's going to have the capabilities to deal with a single tall unit, and so a lot of medium quality stuff is a little bit more challenging for him to answer. All right. Want to go for Shyvana? Sure. Nothing wrong with generating some single combats. He's already got the block for the Wounded White Flame, and so again, adding another medium quality unit out here gives us an avenue for problems.
I fight with my spirit, not my fists.
Oh dear.
All right, well, here they come.
The dragon binds us.
What's this one gonna be? Bounce spell? Okay. So I think we can hang on to these guiding touches. Like, I kind of... We might need to just be like cycling to a Pantheon or something here. Like, Pantheon should be a game ender. Golden Aegis should do a lot of work in terms of ending a game. But it feels like we've just been strong enough the whole way through.
Fire and fury burn in me.
Get the fire and the fury coming from Shyvana. And so now if he's just going to, if we can get him to the point to where, you know, he's just counting on his blocks instead of having stuns and stuff. He hasn't hit the rune prison or anything yet. Then we'll get to the space to where we can maybe kill with the Dragon's Clutch.
Anyone seen any sheep around here? I lost mine.
Ooh, he doesn't get to see it. That's kind of a scary prank. That's a scary prank if he knows what's coming at him with the Dragon's Clutch and he gets to F. he gets to prepare for the incoming overwhelms. He says, "Oh snap, Bust prepared. He's ready. He's ready." What do we got? Hush. See what turns up. That's not a Pantheon. Okay.
They are nothing.
Doesn't stop us. Get them burst speed attacks in. Hush is kind of interesting as he's blocking with this Dragonling as well. Doesn't seem like we're in a space to where the lifesteal is going to be incredibly relevant, but you know, it's a thing. Then the other thing with Hush that we can kind of watch out for on this next turn is he has to be sitting on like some of these rune things, right? At least I would suspect he's sitting on some of these rune things. And so as he tries to play the runes and level up this rise, we can silence him for the turn, and so he can't level up and kill us with his ability. Sure, he's definitely going to be popping these things off soon. I'm hoping we can just go into the next turn without Rise being flipped. That would be fairly crucial. I think we're going to have to go ahead and cycle. Of course, of course, Pantheon turns up now. Well, that's what we get. That's what we get. We could have cycled again and tried to get a Pantheon attack in this turn. Didn't do it. Looks like we might get punished for it. Oh man, yeah. The bummer with this next turn as well is that if he like opens with a rune, then we can't stop the Rise from flipping. Yeah, he's got it now, anyways. Okay. Oh man, I guess we didn't have much reason to not cycle there. Now we're just getting hard punished for it. Oh, that's brutal. That's brutal. I thought we were so far away. I didn't think he would have a real chance to win the game this turn. All right, well, let's see what comes in. We do have a bit of cycle here, so may have some potential to gem, Pale Cascade, and then Hush. But we have to hit it like right now. So we're going to gem, we're going to Pale Cascade. See if we get some kind of interaction. Pantheon can maybe do it. We can... Well, we should at least be able to stop him from attacking, right? He's going to have to add the 5th rune to the board, and then he can't immediately attack. So we can play Pantheon. We have the stun Pantheon in hand, so we should be able to target the Rise with the Shield Vault break, or we have to target him with the Hush first, the Shield Vault second, and we might be able to keep him from attacking. What's this? What? Oh, okay. I guess the shard gets to go. I got excited. I didn't realize the damage thing was coming in. All right, no counter spells, please. Maybe? No nopifies? Got the deny. All right. Whew. So that's tough. I mean, yeah, I don't think there's any real reason to not cycle that second, the second heal card. That was a bit of a problem on me. It wouldn't have been a guaranteed win. It's just we had a lot of really good Pantheons there as to where we can, if we're not threatening lethal, we can at least threaten to kill his Rise. And so if we had like Spell Shield Challenger or something with Pantheon, then it should leave us in a much better spot. Ooh. All right, though. On to the next one, up against the Illaoi. Twisted Fate. Let's see what we can do. Got the big gem start. The Cultist into the Shepherd, getting the extra gems in hand. See what we can do, friends. We do have some silences for this match, right? We have the Blinded Mystic, and we actually have a copy of Hush, so we have some of the answers to Tentacles here. Sure. I'm gonna start bringing it, start taking the level ups. We should be able to contest his Tentacles pretty easily here. We'll see if he comes at us with like a Tentacle Slam here. Ideally, we'll get to equip the unit, but if he tentacle slams, we can at least single combat and clear him of tentacles. What do we got here? I think we need the quick attack. Not quite in the space to where we need the overwhelm. It is very tempting to pick the overwhelm, but I think we're a little bit short with it. Would have been nice to pick up a point of health on this one, because if he wants to come in and attack with the tentacle, it's a little bit too strong for us, but... All right, ooh, now that we pick up Hush, does any of this stuff change? I don't think so. I think I'm actually... I want to get Pantheon going, but we probably need to get him leveled up at this point. Ooh, actually, what if we do this? What if we boost our smaller unit, silence the Mystic? Now his blocks just aren't very good. Getting the Sea's voice out of the way should buy us a little bit of time. And then if he comes in with like an Illaoi here, that's not a particularly strong turn for him. Okay. Weakening up that tentacle, bro. It'd be very important. Like we do have the Hush, which lets us interact with this nicely, but if he starts to have like a 7/7 tentacle and we're trying to kill it with single combats, that's not really a not really a plan for success. So don't want to be stuck that way. All right, well, Pantheon, bro, getting ready to flip. Let's see what you can do. What do we got? I'm not super interested in the Pot of Pain. I think we just want to go for the mana here. Let's see what he hits. Super awesome keywords, I'm sure. What you got in there? Overwhelm. It's tough to see. Lifesteal, Elusive, Tough, Fury, Augment. Odd set, but the Elusive is fairly big. He doesn't really want to be blocking either of these. It's like I was looking at it and like we can just lethal here, right? That's an odd space, in that he can he can kind of boom us from multiple ways coming out of this, but all right. So the Pantheon goes. Oh no! I thought we'd already. Does he get a second faded when he levels up? His faded thing was active. We could have single combated down the tentacle. It's still kind of a scary single combat, but that's not how I expected that one to go.
We move against fear, against doubt.
Today we say enough.
All right, well, let's get this fresh Pantheon down. No more animations. I was hoping for a little bit more animation out of this one. Didn't get it, but I think we're in a pretty good spot. All right, so that should kill both of the tentacles, right? Oh no, he still gets to grow out of it. Oh shit. I was thinking in terms of making single combat plays, but it's still fine-ish. It's definitely not great, but it's fine-ish. Now he's got the big tentacle on board. And we didn't boost our Pantheon last turn. Oh, we are slopping this one up. Oh, this is going to go poorly. This is going to go poorly. We've punted this one out. He's so short on stats now. This is brutal. Alright. We should have just let it happen. Like, we should have saved it for when, like, the tentacle was just, like, actually in combat. Oh, this is just amazingly bad now. Alright, let's just move on. We gotta wash the filth of that matchup off of us and just move on to the next one. But that's one of those things as to where I feel like when I was first getting into the competitive scene is when Illaoi really started to hit. And it's one of those decks that you gotta just get like a ton of reps in with. And I never felt like I had enough experience with Illaoi. And it's one of these things that you can't just like pick up the deck. And I've been playing quite a bit of it here in recent days, and it's starting to feel much better. And so it's definitely been kind of a learning experience and a bit of improvement. But here, not really certain what any of these decks are. The thing with Nora in it strikes me as being manageable. I'm never banning out this Teemo. Let's just take away the Elise. That should be like Iceborne Spiders Elise. And I think that's the one that scares me the most. Just the potential for Frostbites and Vengeances and access to things like getting a bunch of width that our decks can't deal with. It strikes me as something that like you don't want to run a Legion Rearguard into. So we can take it down, see how these other ones go. All right, so we'll hang on to our friend White Flame, look for a gem maker. Didn't find it, but hopefully it'll be okay. There's the gem maker. Gotta outrace this Teemo, see if he has the turn 1 Teemo or not. Teemo has to be in here just as an elusive, right? You can't have you can't have real hopes and dreams banked into this Teemo when he's paired with Ionia. I think, maybe. Sure. Must just be a terrible draw from the opponent.
Not to forget, but to remember.
Remember this, Irelia. Dance to forget. Dance to remember this one. So I'm curious, like, what kind of removal suite is coming out of this deck, if anything. You know, it's like against the P and Z removal that's all damage based. Just absolutely love it. They have no way to start to take down our wounded White Flames or anything. If we're looking at a deck that has a bunch of that potentially has a bunch of like bounce spells in it, though, then he has the potential to cause some problems for us. But shouldn't have to worry about it here. He doesn't have Flow. The Defiant Dance costs 5 mana, so don't have to worry about that one. He would need to be playing Homecoming, or not, but Will of Ionia is the one that he would need. Really, Irelia, really.
You feel it too.
It's a very suspicious attack into a 5 health tough unit. It takes 2 combat tricks or 3 damage to have her quick attack work there. So we'll let that go. If we trade for her in combat on our attack, it's kind of okay. But it's not something I want to be facing when he's attacking us.
Oh dear.
Take your place.
Now that Irelia is coming in. Oh man, so much. He's really going hard on this dragon. So how much is he dealing? 4 and 1? So we can try and Pale Cascade out of this if we want. I mean, I think we want. It's really tough for him to have another 2 mana spell here. And then if we go into the next turn and get to just like start healing on the White Flame with the Guiding Touch, or even just dropping Barrier on it with the Golden Aegis. That has to just be really good, right? Now the single combat to take down Teemo. Those Teemo puff caps are putting in the work fast. It's certainly coming at us. What'd he go for? Traps. Okay, that makes sense. All right, so I just don't think this is the space to where we want to Golden Aegis just yet. Let's get the Cultist in. Let's boost up our units a little bit. I was curious if he was going to attack with... I was curious if he was going to attack with Karina. He is not. So let's just make another big unit, and we should be bigger than Karina next turn, so we should just win that combat, and then the rally should take down the game. Cool. And man, we get to play Leona. It's been so long. It's been so long since we played the Battle Academias again. I 6-1'd the one yesterday, and it got banned literally every single match. Didn't get to play it any, and so it's just kind of a safe pick for me. Like as I was talking about trying to get comfortable with the Illaoi deck and learning quite a bit over the past couple days, I feel like this is just a good safety net for me as to where. I've got a ton of reps with this deck in, and I feel really confident in playing it. And just kind of having that carryover from seasonals is a nice thing, as opposed to like the thing I want to get in this lineup is Varus, and just have this big triple bruiser lineup. But I certainly don't have the reps in with Varus to feel safe with that, and so that's why you're seeing the Leona deck here. It doesn't fit fantastically into the theme of the lineup, but it does it just does act as a deck I have a ton of confidence in. See all these dum-dums coming in, and it's like I'm ultimately just afraid that this is going to be a oh, what's he called? The Curious Shellfolk. There we go. Hate that card so much. But here, I'm picking up the Written in the Stars. It should let us either build to Katarina. We should be able to have really strong Katarina turns a couple turns from now, or it will let us get the second Leona, and then we could just get a massive stun a couple of turns from now, and just stun 3 or 4 units and go in that way. Like I feel really safe about these. However it plays out. We can leave Victor on board. We can like come in post-combat and try and drop Nox and Fervors on him if we want to, but I think he's just going to get shut down with the Leona stuns anyways, and he's not super important to try and target down here. Got pranked. Got pranked again. It's gonna be like a 8 mana Written in the Stars. Yeah, I guess that one's gotten canceled. Not playing that one until turn 10. Interesting. There we go. Now the fun begins, right? It's almost tempting now. I mean, he's out of mana at this point. We probably realistically do just want to Nox and Fervor this Victor away, right? I don't care about Nora. I guess Leona doesn't have barriers at this point, which is kind of awkward, but let's do it. If we do it now, I mean, I don't think it's going to matter, but I don't think you can play a Hex Core upgrade without Victor on the board. That's going to keep the assembly bot a little bit smaller. Could be relevant on this next turn. What happened to our Ravoon? Nothing? You just saw him? You didn't do anything to him? Alright. Didn't spike that one cost? That's too bad. We didn't luck up the 1 for the second stun. It's okay though. It's okay. Vienamone. Oh man. I was not expecting to see a Bienemone on the day. But if he blocks a 5, he's taking 7. Should be able to decimate him out next turn. See if he's going to come at us with the the signpost. All right, definitely feeling okay now. Enjoy. It's nice playing Decimate, man. I haven't played any other Decimates since the new patch came out. So you gotta get back to your roots every once in a while, you know. Drop the big Decimates on them. But GG. On to the next one. Okay, so what do we got here? We got Pantheon Varus, which we can't ban. I'm happy to play all of our decks against it. The Feel the Rush matchup is kind of interesting. It feels pretty even, and so I'm just going to ban out the Tristana Gnar deck. I'm okay going up against the Trundlemere deck. It's not a matchup that feels amazing. Like it feels like some of us are kind of weaker to it, especially coming from, say, Pantheon Shyvana. But the Illaoi deck certainly has the tools to do it. You can usually surprise them with a spell shield. Like I've only the only matchups against Feel the Rush to where I have drawn a Kayn off of Cultists, because the only Cultists we're playing are the 1-cost one. It involved Buried in the Ice. I have a couple of the Cultists on the board. They Buried in the Ice. They come back into play, and then we get the Kayn in hand. It's been kind of interesting that way, but it's not a commonality by any means. So what's he gonna pick? He's pulled up he pulls out the Illaoi deck. I like it. And say. He's pulling up the Runeterra.ar, seeing if the list is up there yet. I gotta get in a few more games before it turns up. All right, what do we got here though? It's kind of interesting with the Blinded Mystic. He's not targeting the units that we want, right? This is their big things are going to be the Pantheons and the Varuses, right? And they don't have units like the Wounded White Flame. I guess we could keep it if we're worried about like the turn 1 Saga Seeker. It gives you a way to try and take him down, but I don't really look at that as a reason enough to hang on to the dude. Now triple White Flame draw, not what we're really looking to do. Bit of an awkward hand here. Single combat can change that real quick though.
And suddenly geography means nothing.
Together, stranger.
It's curious if he really wanted to get involved here. I'd say that's a bit of a scary matchup for him. So let's just move on. We have the single combat in hand. If we get the chance to boost the White Flame with the Wandering Shepherd, I think we might be able to get a little faster than him. The thing to worry about here is if he now has like a Pale Cascade in hand. He could potentially cause our dragon some problems, and then our dragon did just miss out on the Fated from the previous turn. Here, I think this is okay. It's slightly greedy when you say, I'm going to take the can't block, but I'm sitting on this single combat that I'm feeling pretty good about, and he's going to have to interact with this Wounded White Flame. And so, looks like he's just going in for the kill. That's fine. Takes a lot of investment from him, and now his board kind of sucks. All right, White Flame number 2. Ready to go into ready to go into can't block mode, but can do some of this other stuff mode. He's nowhere near leveling this Pantheon. He's just stopping us from attacking. Let's get it all in. Check out how big my dragon is, bro. Check it out. Check it out.
I will end their cyclical war.
No, this is tough. We can look to Cataclysm the Pantheon. He has a Pan of Pain. He doesn't have a Rake on him. That's kind of interesting thing. But we need to play a card right now. At least this way, if he wants to kill our dragon, he's gonna have to play a combat trick at this point, right? To take his Pantheon up to 7. And then he should just be dying anyways. Alright. Everybody's blowing their wad. Alright, but you know what we're ready with. We got another dragon in hand. So we'll see what can happen with him. Anything else cool turn up? Nope. Not today. Nothing cool's turning up today. Pantheon number 2? Come on. Go with the Pot of Pain out of this one just to get the additional health. Alright. He's got in a very champion-centric matchup, he's drawn 2 champions to R0. He hits Spell Shield in here as well. This is Spell Shield elusive with the Scout Rake in hand. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. If you're not familiar with sarcasm, that was it. That's what I was delivering to you right there. Let's see what we can do. This is brutal. What a brutal way to go. 0 champions the whole game. Oh, you drew 3. You can't talk too much about Varus in terms of drawing champions because he comes to your hand automatically, but it's painful the way that this has gone. I'm really surprised. Like, why are you even bothering with Varus when you have Scout Rake, Elusive, Spell Shielded Pantheon to just come in and close out the game with? So, kind of is what it is. Mountain Goat's not going to do it. Well, if he's going to keep doing dumb shit, let's at least see. Let's at least give him the chance to continue with the dumb shit, I guess. You have the obvious wins right in front of you. It's like the thing you run into with that spot is it's such like a clear and easy path to victory. Why aren't you just doing it and then kind of like saving your spell mana as the means to like prevent something going wrong with that? And so the things I have to wonder about when you have 6 mana are much greater than when you have 2. And like adding those couple of points of health to, or a couple of points of attack to Pantheon shouldn't be super relevant. And so it's kind of a frustrating thing to see it happen like that when you can't interact with it, but it's what it is. All right, though. We got our Cultist. We got our White Flame. We got our Shyvana. Let's run into battle. Avengers, let's ride. Is that what they say? Let's cook. Cooking with Russell Wilson out here. It's something like that. So with this, up against this opposing deck, now that we just drew the Mountain Goat, I'm going to take the more aggressive path here. This deck typically doesn't play anything on the second turn. If it does, it's just that ramp unit, and then on turn 3, they look to spend 6 mana on, or 5 mana on a ramp card. And so we should be getting a little bit better value out of Mountain Goat than we would get out of the Cultist. And then we should be dropping in the Shyvana here as well. It's like where this gets to be troublesome is if he has Trundle right now. Like if he has Trundle and we go for Shyvana, then the game is pretty much over. But if we open here, we still have a bit of opportunity.
Survival through savagery.
Little bit of opportunity. What you doing now? Playing more cards? Interesting. Bile Feast. Alright, we'll gotta just give up on it at some point. That point was right now. Done with that. Alright, so he's not going for units. That's kind of nice. He does have the mana to Buried in the Ice next turn, but he doesn't have the mana to hit us with a Feel the Rush. So this is pretty not good. Pretty not good. I think we can add in one more unit and see what happens. Like, if he has the Buried in Ice, this is pretty abysmal, but... Okay, okay. We can work with Trundle. Looks like this might be a Harsh Winds coming in, but Trundle isn't big enough to stop the Wounded White Flame. So he can get into combat and just not kill it. Right, if he has to Three Sisters this turn. Three Sisters this turn is actually quite fantastic, even if he's playing Three Sisters to take down the White Flame. Same kind of deal with the Vengeance, in that he can't feel the rush next turn. If he had a Buried in the Ice, he would have already played it. And so we do have some opportunity here to get around what he's doing. Aegis is huge. All right, let's see if that can turn anything around. It's still not good. This is not a great place to be in. This is not a super favored matchup for us, but whew, this is not going well. Things have turned from being kind of okay to just not well whatsoever. Under. It's like we can't even attack here. I mean, we can attack into the... Like, we can pull off one of these, just to pick up another gem, but that's not the ultimate way to victory here. This is pretty terrible. Well, Pantheon's about the best thing we could ask for. He's not going to be enough to take this down, I don't think, but got to get him in. See what sweet keywords we hit. Oh, he did at least hit Spell Shield Elusive in here. It does a little bit of work for him. Let's feel the rush now, just for just for the complete have-it-alls along the way. Avalanche. Interesting. This is just to open up a Harsh Winds. Has to be. Can we get the lethal this round otherwise? Well... See an opponent at the potential for 11. Like I know this isn't going to go well. This is going to be a harsh wins coming out of this turn, but seeing that 11 come into 12 made me stop and pause if we could have played the gem onto something else. But we gemmed twice onto fearsome units, and so I don't think we had anything else there. Wow, what the hell? Just actual do nothing? That's insane. That's insane. All right. Come on, Dragon Bro. You can do it. I believe in you. You got to be the one to do it. All of your other friends are locked in the ice shed. And another Pantheon. We got to drop him.
Cast off your fear and stand as one.
It's just like the potential to actually deal with him here is so low. I don't know how you all feel about that one. I don't feel like we deserved it.
We will shake the heavens with our victory.
Shook the heavens with our victory, though. That was for certain. Okay, now Katarina Leona does have the opportunities to get way out in front of this deck if you're able to put together the really aggressive starts. Since they aren't playing a ton of early game interactivity, they tend to just be super greedy. You have the chance to get out there, but the downside in that sense with the version that we play is I don't play the Legion Saboteurs, I don't play the Reveler's Feasts, because I think that's just way too all-in and aggressive, and I think it's not necessary, and I think you run into way too many games to where it gets to be like turn 6, turn 7, turn 8, and you might have like one card in hand, and you just get ground out. And so I really advocate for playing this more grindy version with the Solari Priestesses in it, but this is most certainly the kind of space to where it's a little bit weaker. So we'll see. We got that 1-2-3 draw with the Katarina in it. That looks pretty nice. But it's you do with that more aggressive version run into these draws to where you can play like 3 1-drops in the first 2 turns, and that's something that this deck like has to have Avalanche for, and if they don't have Avalanche, they just lose. Oof. Let's see though. Did opponent rage quit? That's one of my favorite things in life. I think the probable favorite thing is when they emote too early and you just get the wins that way. But a rage quit does really make me feel good on the inside. And so maybe that's what we've unlocked here. Maybe that's what we achieved. But in terms of this game, I am going to lead off with the Crimson Pigeon. Next turn, we almost certainly will play the Solari Shield Bearer, but we're not going to be into one of these like super quick Leona draws. And it is kind of nice with these soldiers to have them on like turn 5 and turn 6. It's of course, not like mega ideal, but you do run into a lot of occasions to where you play like you have a Leona on turn 5, and then on turn 6 you play Ravoon and get a stun, and then you play a Solari Soldier and get a stun. And so they are, not incredible late, but they do have a bit of that good early, good late appeal to them. And then even here, if it's just a matter of boosting up a Sun Guardian a little bit, just a little extra nugget of value.
Unyielding light.
I don't know about you, but I'm always good for a little nugget of value. Oh man, opponent rage quit. He said, your dragons is too much, bro. Dragons is too much. I feel you. Everybody likes a dragon. Say something about Dragon D's nuts, That's the appropriate usage of the term dragons. You say Dragging these nuts across your chin. All right, 6 damage combat coming in. Nice. Let's see if opponent comes at us with their Feral Mystic. Poor guy. Poor guy. He can still come back though. I wonder if his favorite thing is fading it. You know, he's just gonna come out and rope it. He's got the. He's like, I don't have to play till turn 3 anyways. I'm just gonna go squeeze out a Duke and come back a little bit later. You know. Doesn't seem to be what's happening here, but I could certainly see that being a thing. So on this upcoming turn, I'm looking to play the 1-cost Solari and then Katarina, assuming that this was like a real game to where he was going to play a ramp card on turn 3 and then maybe try and trundle on this turn. I would still feel pretty okay about that. Like, we're going to end up losing a unit, but we should get him to spend all of his mana on trundle, and then we get to slap down Katarina and start threatening the rallies. And so it feels reasonably safe in that sense. But waiting on that clock to run out. Hopefully we got enough to seal the deal.
Never play fair.
To attack Katarina coming to the party. She should say on the front side, immune to quietus. I feel like that's what she should get as part of her nerf to 2/2. Say she loses the point of attack but can't be killed by quietus, and I think that would be fair. I think it would be fair. The only thing to say with this attack, I'm not certain if I would rather weaken the soldier or weaken the shield bearer. At the end of the day, it's probably the soldier that should be weak, so that we have the 2 health across the board and a little bit of Vile Feast protection. Here, we just don't want to weaken Katarina. You'll do that on occasion, since she's going to quick attack and return to hand and not have to worry about that point of damage being relevant, but against a deck with Vile Feasts, you probably don't want Katarina falling to 1 health. I think we got him. I think we did it. GG. 3rd win for Bust.
They'll never know what killed them.
Ooh. These things take forever, man. I'm curious how these go. Like, I'm not complaining, but I just checked we're at the hour and 15-minute mark. About halfway through this thing. Gonna be here for like 3 hours, man. I think the one I did yesterday took a little over 2 hours, and it's tough. I'm not entirely certain how I feel about the matter, but it does feel a little long. So with these, one of the problematic control style decks we're going to run into are the Scorched Earth based removals, and so the removal coming out of the Swain deck is exceptionally good against both Illaoi and Shyvana, so that's the one that we're going to ban. And these other 2 decks, I don't think we're ultimately worried about. All right, let's bring Illaoi first. I feel like this is going to be our superstar. It's one of these deals where Illaoi should be a little weak against Zed. It depends on the Zed deck they're bringing. I can't imagine that they aren't playing 3 Zed, but I'm not certain how those champions line up. It's probably just 3 Kayle and 3 Zed. But I don't know how the showing of the champion works. If you're familiar with Expedition, you could kind of figure out the champion your opponent was building around by how many copies of it were over on the left. And since you were pretty heavily incentivized to draft 3 copies of one champion and then only 1 copy of your secondary one, and it's a little tough to tell in the current state here. Kayle Zed with the gems. It's just one of these spots as to where I need to start getting tentacles on the board, but it's kind of tough to put forth here. I think we might actually want Kayn in this space. Like, we don't have a very good tentacle draw, And then this will let us Eye of God, the Bakai, and survive against a Gift Giver. And then I guess if he plays the gem to miss out on a bit of tempo, I mean, I think that's okay. Like, if he gems the Gift Giver, we attack, still have the 2/2 behind. Because he's probably not playing another unit at that point.
One sprint for each crab I saw today.
Inspired Mentor is a bit of a different story, but kind of is what it is.
How did that move go?
But feel reasonably safe if he's coming at us with Zed. We have the hired gun. The hired gun will put the vulnerable on him. And say, like, he plays Zed and puts the gem on him. We should be able to manage all of that.
Get you noticed around here.
No Zed either. Okay. All right. Well, doesn't seem terrible. It's not done too much coming out of their draw. This is a deck that will surprise you out of nowhere and then just be like, LOL, got you with Zolani. But I don't think with the way his draw has started that that's really a major concern. Like, I guess he can play Kale next turn and potentially cause some problems, but I mean, it seems like we're starting to take over. I don't know. Maybe I'm overly optimistic here with how this board's going. I always look at this deck and think everything it's doing is just garbage, and then I get set for a rude awakening a little bit later. Yeah, everybody's big now. Okay, so we'll take that one down. We want Kayn to get a kill, and then our token gets a block in here. It's like we're taking 8. Sure. Oh, seems okay. I don't know, man. I've seen worse. Do we really want to tentacle, though? I kind of like it in the sense that, well, we probably just don't need to, right? And then we can maybe follow up with Riptide Sermon. We should win this one almost all the time. We have the combat trick just in case. I mean, I think this should all be safe. There's the kill for him. Get that sweet Kayn flip. We still have this mana to Riptide Sermon. I don't... It's like I don't really want to get amped into this Riptide Sermon, but we do have this like really strong defensive set here. We have the Unforgiven Cold to flash freeze his big boys, and then we have equipment on both of our cards at this point, right? We have the Scythe on Rost, and we have the Eye of God on the Tentacle. And so it gives us a bit of a good strike chance for either one of these that we want to use. I guess we can try and take down the card. Like, if he's going to really get us with the Zolani, he needs to just have, like, the full board, right? And if we can take the full board away from him, then Zolani isn't nearly as scary. And Nagakaboro is about to be scary. I give you that one. I give you that one.
My friend and I are soul collectors.
All right. Well, now that he's tapped down to 4 mana, he can't do anything real scary. And then I guess that's safe. I don't know what he's going to boom us. That's probably a mistake to drop that in. I am getting really excited to drop in Nagakaboros here, but I think we should have just let that turn go and then saved the mana. It's like, I feel like if we get into this turn right here, we're just never going to lose. But if he's going to do some weird shit where he boosts all of his units, we have the opportunity to lose that game. All right, enjoy that Nagakaboros level up. Again, that's going to kill your team, and then we get to attack again. Oh, you got to push the commit button. My bad. That just assumes the game's over as soon as you play the Nagakaboros Fury, and it's over, you know. Nagakaboros' Tantrum. My bad. It's not his Fury, it's his Tantrum. All right, cool. We killed a bunch of stuff. Not cool, dude. Not cool. Do not approve. But see, this is one of those big reasons I like I like jumping into the cultist deck. It's just you get so much utility out of all this stuff, right? You have the one cost unit, you have the frostbites, the strikes, the the spell shield thing that we were playing there. Illaoi just or not Illaoi, Kayn just does a lot on his own. So it's pretty powerful stuff. It's like I think that like the Demacia deck or the Ionia deck may be better, but I think the Demacia one is just the most powerful one that you can have, right? That's the one that's going to have the biggest draws, but it doesn't have any protection for the champions. And then the Ionia version does play a bit of protection, but it doesn't have like that raw power to it that you get out of the Demacia one, and it just feels like the kind of balance is in the middle with something like this.
Reporting in. Follow the horizon.
All right, though. Back to the Kale Zed. Reasonable start with us. A lot of really good early things going on here. Got a nice Daybreak curve. We got the stuns of Zed comes down next turn. No complaints. No complaints. Don't even need the stuns if Zed comes down next turn. You just play a Sun Guardian. Cool.
Just like we practiced.
All right, here come the stats.
Ready, willing, and learning.
Get a third one in, so you get a third one in, so you still can't attack profitably with your sparring students. I like it. I like it.
You cannot sway me.
Is this where we're at? If we're gonna lose our shield breaker anyways, let's put less damage onto the Sun Guardian. I think I like this. He's only going to go up to 3 health next turn, so he would still trade with the Owlcat, but it gets him into action sooner.
Get me a sweet bun. Heightens the senses. How did that move go?
All right. Now Leona's ready to come down. We can get the double stuns 2 turns from now. This all seems pretty good.
A little luck.
Katarina's ready to party as well.
Daylight breaks on the battlefield. I am the bulwark against darkness.
I wonder what this Zed deck's capability is to handle a Katarina. It doesn't seem like... I mean, he played Concussive Palms. I guess that's one way to stop a Katarina. They probably don't have a way to actually kill her. Whatever. Maybe that's a little greedy, not taking the unit down, but like I just see the Katarina in our hand, see all this damage we're about to do here, and it's like we're gonna Katarina, we're gonna Blade's Edge, the Owlcat, get a lot of good activity in here, and I just don't think, like, what's he gonna add to the board that really scares at this point? He has to just like throw down a, he like either has to throw down a bunch of width and either just sacrifice it or like risk a Kale, and Kale doesn't really do anything out here.
Answer to me.
All right, he's getting one Grandfather Fae involved. Now, the thing that's a little scary here, where I'm curious if we shouldn't have saved the Sunhawk for next turn, is that if he does drop big unit here, we don't have a stun. We don't have a daybreak for this turn. So we have some potential for failure. He's still short on Zolani, man. I think Zolani costs like 8. But definitely things to be worried about. He does have Zolani. We fortunately picked up the daybreak, though. He doesn't need to know that. What's he level up at? 16? But then he has to actually attack to boost all the units, right? Attack, yeah. Alright, let's see what we can do. Let's go ahead and throw down the stun, see if we can't just go ahead and outright win the game. We should be able to get just multiple attacks in this turn. I don't think this is ever a decimate turn. I think this is a... let's see what we can do with Katarina turn. But if Katarina does get sent back to hand for whatever reason, we just have all the options we need. Like if we kill off his whole board except for Zolani, then we can still just try and go for a decimate. But I mean, it should be too tough for him to really continue on with these, right? We just get to say, LOL, it's Katarina. Right, if he has 2 14-14 Zolanis, or even 3 at this point, we have to just be safe. Okay, we win. GG. Market a W for bust. Ooh, almost almost pushed the move to next turn button. That's certainly not how you come out and win the game. But we got there, we did it. GG. Up to those 4 victories.
Our deeds will be written in the heavens.
There we go. Next battle. Ooh. 4-1, not bad. I thought we were going to drop a couple of those matches, so it's nice to pick those up. What do we got here? Now, Aatrox Kayn is right in the kind of space to where I'll never ban. I don't think it's a deck to ever worry about at this point, and so it's going to be either this Karma Shadow Isles number or the Sun Disk, and I'm okay with the Sun Disk. I think we can handle it okay-ish. It doesn't interact super well with Illaoi, and so I think we can stick with it. I worry like this Karma thing can't be a like Ephemeral's deck. I worry about Hecarim. Like Hecarim really slays a lot of what we're doing out here, but I just don't think that that's what's going to be coming out. All right, we'll start it off with Pantheon. What do we got up against Aatrox Kayn? I've been trying to make both of these champions work. It's not to say that this deck isn't capable of winning, but the nerf to both Aatrox and Kayn takes it down quite a bit. It's just you have such a struggle drawing either of them for free at this point that I wasn't super impressed with it. But it's capable of beating weak draws like this. That's for certain. We drew a lot of utility stuff in here. We need to pick up something good over the course of the next few turns. Get in there, Mountain Goat. Curious what his equipment is here, if he has one at all. I would assume that he does, but it's like much more challenging to be playing like all of the equipment at this point. Interesting, blocks. In that I'm kind of surprised to see it come down like this. Interesting. Let's just keep passing. It's like there's a bit of temptation to drop in the Dragon's Clutch this turn. Like, we just don't have anything to do next turn. Like, even if we draw with the dragons, like, I mean, maybe we just don't need to, though. Like, I'm not super worried about the keeper of the box. Like, we can just, like, deal with it with due time. I'm just worried about next turn not having anything to do. That's tough. It's tough. Let's see what he does. There's no way he just passes here. And so, like, if he doesn't attack with the Bakai and doesn't block with it, does he really just sit on it the whole game? Like, I'm not certain what he's doing back here. All right, well, let's draw. It's not ideal, but we can't go into this next turn with nothing to do. All right, friends, ready for combat. Let's see what happens, I guess. I don't think he's gonna see a chain vest coming in, and so might have been able to have a little bit of greatness there. All right, well, he's bringing it. He's coming into his Kayn turn. You don't have a ton of mana to do stuff with, but we need something positive to happen. Okay. Well, I ain't complaining. I ain't complaining. Get these big dragons on board, right? Who's that? He played Cultist. That's going to put Kayn in his hand. So do we need to even go for the third dragon at this point? It's to the space where it's kind of nice to have access to all of this mana, but I mean, I think we can just go for the third dragon. Like, if he plays Kayn, that seems so slow, and then we might be able to just get him with the chain vest here. And so I think this is all reasonable. Alrighty then.
The child is gone.
There's Kayn. I guess the fair question to ask at this point is, are we ever going to level up Pantheon? And I don't think we are. And so I feel like we can probably just pass at this point and skip trying to level him. We're on this like pure dragon plan here. I think we should be able to shut down Kayn pretty reasonably. Should be able to shut down Aatrox as well. We just have any outright wins here. We can Cataclysm our White Flame into Kayn. That's a good one. Our 7/4 Tough into his 4/5. And then assuming that goes unimpeded, we can Concerted Strike down Aatrox, or if we have to single combat and lose a unit, it's not the end of the world. What happens with that? Our dragon just goes into the middle. He goes into the arena. I think I'm okay with this. You know, let's just see what happens here. Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm okay with that. See ya, Aatrox. Rip Areno Aatrox. So this one's a little bit more challenging to get out of. I still want to kill the Kayn, but we're gonna have to lose a dragon in the midst. All right, not a bad place to be. We just got to end this game before some kind of crazy world ender shenanigans happens now, and so hopefully we have the speed to do that. Got any quick attacks in here? No.
What's this? A new block. Shadows of shadows, terrors in wait.
well, there's a bunch of dudes with a bunch of stats. I think we can at least clear out the board. But man, this is scary, not being able to get in front of the World Ender. I guess we've cleared out the board and he doesn't have Aatrox down or anything, but I'm a little scared here. It's going to be a strike. So it just trades with the dragon, though. It doesn't actually get a kill. Is this enough if we chain vest? I mean, we can blow it. If we chain vest, he's going to deal 3 and 3, which will get him to 6. Okay, we're going to be short on that. Alright, the grind fest continues. Still seems okay. Pantheon, I didn't think you were flipping this game, but new information is available, man. The turns have tabled. So if we drop Pantheon, we can then, well, A, have a barrier unit, and then B, we can still Concerted Strike onto the Aatrox. Heedless Resurrection brings back another Aatrox. That's not bad. What's he even have left at this point? 2 cards, and then some other stuff. Okay. Does he ever just pass here? Probably does, right? His attacks don't look very good. So let's strike with Pantheon and then get the Fury kill.
I stand this day, a man against all gods.
What did he hit? Did he hit anything good? Quick attack, fearsome, challenger, fury. Okay. So if we're gonna open attack next turn, he should be able to take down Aatrox. Kidding me? Why? Why? Why are you doing this? Okay. Okay. What a grind fest, man. You expect the triple Aatrox to be able to take it down, but man, the dragons say no. The dragons say, I'm not dealing with that today, my dude. He said, I'm getting all the stats. All right. Interesting. That was going to be a scary next turn as he's able to start dropping dropping the World Ender to the 10-10 Aatrox, and it felt like we were short of lethal in terms of damage, and so I was a little scared on that one. Let's see what we can do here with the old broccoli snacks. Got the Battle Academia Leona out here eating our broccoli. I'm curious what the art direction was from this. If someone at Riot was like, "Yo, give me a blue-haired Leona out here snacking on snacking on the broccoli." Curious. So this could be, well, yeah, I like this Sunhawk less. I was like, oh, this is a fairly scary cultist coming at us. We could just drop the shield breaker here, but I'm a little less happy with that. You tend to want to save the, you tend to want to save those stuns for once he has like Aatrox on board. I was thinking too much about the broccoli snacks, and I don't like what we put forth at that point. But let's at least get the shield breaker in now. I assume we're just going to get a trade with the cultist, and I don't really want to trade the Sun Guardian, but then my next worry is that opponent plays the 3-3. And if he plays the 3-3, it shuts down too much of our board, like if we play the Solari Priestess. I wasn't fully anticipating there being a bunch of 2-2s on the board here. And so the Priestess probably would have worked out a little bit better, but I don't think the Sun Guardian was the play. And then, if he's playing the 3-3 here, it shuts down way too much. And so this is good. That's fine as well. So we're getting in five damage and then trading our 1 mana card for his 1 mana card. It's actually kind of positive for us in the sense that he could have potentially just traded away the cultist and then put the quick attack equipment over onto Keeper of the Box. And then with Keeper of the Box having quick attack, has a good chance to just win all of these combats here. I was going to say, I assume you're not just playing a ton of Darken Harps coming out of this deck, since if you want to be drawing the Aatrox, then you need the good equipment to go away. But it's happening. I think we can safely take this, though. This isn't a deck that's able to kill you very easily or very quickly.
Daylight breaks on the battlefield.
Well, Leona is ready. Let's see what we can do. I'm curious if he's going to have the 4th cultist here to try and drop Kayn. And then if he does have a cultist, if it's going to be like a 1 mana one, so that he has mana available. Like, Kayn isn't nearly as scary next turn if he doesn't have any mana to back him up with. Sure. Interesting. So my concern with this, let's just not attack with Leona. Like, I was going to say, my concern here is that he has another combat trick. I don't want Leona getting hit with the Keeper of the Box, and then he plays the +1/+1. That's just too much for us to deal with. And so with him only having 4 mana, he can't +1/+1 and strike. And so we'll keep her safe at home. He's only got 1 card in hand now. And so, like, if he plays a cultist and then plays Kayn, we can't stun Kayn, but we'll have barrier and be looking pretty strong on the board. Just losing our Leona is going to be a nightmare.
All monsters die.
Really? Does he really have like the third combat trick? The strike would make more sense.
You cannot sway me.
We just need to grind this out. I think we're doing okay here. Turns up with the Priestess. I was curious if we actually want the Golden Sister. Like, this is a pretty good board to be dropping Meteor Showers on. We get to kill off 2 of his units with it. But I just, like, look at this board and don't think that that's particularly important. Like, I think we can go to next turn, like, get the stun. If we need to, we can get the double stun off of the Morning Light. And if he's not adding more units to the board, those 2 stuns will be enough to end it.
The enemies of day will fall.
Oh no, we should not have played that. No, it was okay with what I had in mind, in the sense that I want to have the 6 units on the board. I wasn't thinking of the Golden Sister putting 2 units down. That was a definite mistake there. Okay, didn't turn out to bite us where it matters, but that was the aggro player in me being like, ooh, we should we should definitely get the full board. I was like, okay, we're gonna play the Daybreak card and then move from there. But it was sloppy. It was sloppy. But we got him. We found our way into that 6-win space. See what we can do. So what do we have here? This is a bit of some troublesome cards. Now, the Ashe LeBlanc matchups, I'm really not excited about taking either of our Illaoi or big unit-based decks up against, but this Jax Ornn matchup tends to be a struggle for everything that we're doing here. And I think I think both of our big unit decks can pick on deep, and our matchup with Leona is winnable. And so I think I'm going to take down the Jax Ornn, and then hope we can just grind hard enough against the Ashe deck to potentially take this down. It's just you run into a lot of issues if you're trying to OTK with 1 unit when they're able to frostbite everything down. And so we'll see what we can do in that sense. We just have to kind of keep in mind, like we did against Rise, to where we were saying, okay, I need to just play this a little slow not so much slow, but I need to play this wide. And so instead of making 1 20-20, we would rather make 4 5-5 units, and that's the kind of space you need to be in against Ash LeBlanc. All right, the Thorny Toad coming in. No, what you called? No 2-1s in sight. None of that early guy. I can't remember his name. The 1-mana bro. What do we got here? It's kind of tempting to look at upcycled Rake. Maybe it'll pan out here. It's like there's not too much damage-based removal coming out of this deck. Like if he has an Undergrowth here, that kind of sucks. But if he's only coming at us with like Vile Feasts and stuff, that's all still manageable. If he's wanting to play a unit here, we smoke that. And it's like, as I see like the Pantheon and stuff in hand, I'm getting really excited about that Scout equipment. And so at worst, I think we'll be able to get an attack in here, right? I mean, if he has Undergrowth, we're not going to get to attack, but a trade here isn't terrible. And then that's, you know, just the premier equipment for our champions in the back line. Yeah, it's okay. Still get our normal attack. Get in there, Wandering Shepherd. Give him to business. And this is a kind of tough spot again, as to where we have this Pantheon, but how hard do we want to push in terms of getting him leveled up? Like he's not anywhere near leveling up. I think. I mean, we do have the mana to just rake Pantheon this turn. Maybe that's just where we'll take it. Like we'll rake Shyvana. She should be pretty safe in these combats. If she gets hit with a Vengeance here, we can still kind of adapt. But this is a space to where it's like, should we just be pushing dragons or should we be pushing Pantheon? Because as the game goes on, as opponent hits deep, Pantheon's not going to do anything unless he has elusive. And so I don't want to get over-invested in him if he's not going to have a lot of opportunities here. But seeing opponent play a salvage right there does feel pretty good.
They are nothing.
It's like I'm just eyeballing this Cataclysm and being able to take down the Scarab, but we can Cataclysm on the opponent's turn to get that attack token back, and so I don't want to jump into that too quickly.
By my spear, the gods will no war.
And let's do a little to big here. If he wants to get a little involved with this, he's going to want to put his spider on the Shyvana. Ooh, this is great. Like, after we pushed this attack forward, I was a little worried that he was just going to block the Shepherd because the Sea Scarab's so important, but losing the Pantheon there is just absolutely fine. How close to deep are we here? 21 cards left. Oh, and the Dragon's Clutch. Oh, fam. Oh, fam. It's coming in. It's coming in. Boom it. I don't think they have anything to stop this. This is just a absolute monstrosity coming in now. Nice. Shyvana says, Pantheon, I know you've got the keyword soup on occasion, but let me give you a little taste of what we're doing out here today. So she's a damage short of lethal on this attack, though, right? He's going to be able to put the Wanderer in front. It's 11 coming in. It's only going to come up to 8 damage. So we're going to have to try and win on the open attack next turn. It still should be a pretty good... Oh, is that really one short? Interesting. I guess I can't math real good. We're doing 9, but then he's gaining 3, so it's only 6 in total. I guess that makes sense. But this should be the spot to where if he wants to stop the Shyvana here, he has to have a Vengeance. And if he's playing Vengeance here, we should be okay. We're big enough to we're big enough to battle through the Shipwreck Order, and I think you can hush these. It's been a while since we've tried to make this kind of interaction, but I think that's a possibility. All right, salvage coming in. I think we're okay now. Neg 3 into 1, GG. Oof. Good stuff. Let's see if the old Sunburn can't take us to victory. Oof. Oh, he left Illaoi up. Okay, well. Surprise, surprise. What a fine deck to take into the penultimate battles. Illaoi Kayn up against Deep. See what we can do. So this is not like ultra ideal. We need to get. We really want to get these tentacles up and running as fast as we can. And that hand we had didn't do it. This hand certainly doesn't do it. And so let's see if we can't at least manage something out of this. This is a absolute nightmare of a draw. So no reason to come and spend this stuff so early. We could wait until next turn. If we pick up like a Riptide Sermon, we would much rather be Riptide Sermoning than playing Tentacle Smash or something. And so maybe something will turn up. Did not. See what he does. I would like to Tentacle Smash away the Sea Scarab, but it's dangerous. We really want him to be playing a unit before we try and go for that. As if we Tentacle Smash and then he undergrowths the tentacle, and then the fresh tentacle comes in and smashes the Sea Scarab as a 2/2. The game's just going to be done at that point. And so, all right. So we'll just keep this mana banked up now. We're going to be counting on a lot of Illaoi and Kayn here, and so we need to use these spells if we can. Tend away, Maokai, tend away. Alright, so Kayn comes in. We got an equipment now so we can expand his protection. We've got a real potential for big tempo plays here. If he tries to Vengeance one of our champions, and we get to counterspell the 6 mana with 2. Didn't come in, but gotta get started. And we're doing it, right? We're getting started just a little bit, just a little taste of a start. Just a little nugget of one. Oh, Steve, ready to show up. He says, "I'm here for the champions unlimited deck week. You know, you got 2 champions on board. I want to be here as a part of number 3. And as we're looking to roll into this this next combat, the potential to kill off looks like a lot of 1 health units here. Could be extremely relevant." Do we care about the Wanderer more than these ones? Probably not.
I'm always up for a round or 2.
It's so the big thing here is we don't want to be kind of caught with our pants down without the Expanse's protection, and so I don't have any real desire to tap below 2 mana here. And here we're still in the space to where we maybe Tentacle Smash Maokai, and then we have the Expanse's protection. We have a lot of options here, which are pretty strong. But I don't want to be like super all in on it. Oh my gosh, look at that Maokai. he's almost about to flip. We'll have to keep that in mind. It's going to be... We can beat a Maokai flip, but it's going to be a problem if we go for the Tentacle Smash onto Maokai, and then he has a way to level him up. So let's take it just a touch slow, see what turns up here. He does go for the level up, which is fine. We can beat that. We just got to do it real fast, you know. this Twisted Fate's never gonna flip. I'll tell you that nugget right now. All right, and I'm gonna put the Eye of God onto Twisted Fate. I don't want to invest everything in this tentacle and then have him hit us with a Vile Feast. But we're much more safe now. Don't have to worry about nearly as many things now that we've got this mana built up. I think we want to Tentacle Smash beforehand so that we can get a little bit of a safer, or a higher impact combat, I should say. So who do we want to take down? Probably the Lifesteal unit. Now that we picked up the second Expanse's protection, we can be a little bit more greedy with how we take these spells in. Shipwreck Hoarder's a big boy. I give him that. So we're probably just going to boom him with the Unforgiven Cold, right? That's what would make sense to me. Yes. Can he ever, like, lethal us with that thing next turn? I don't think so. Where does this get us? We've got a 7/4 Tentacle, and then a 10/6 flipped Illaoi, and then that's Kayn coming back into hand. So I think we just want to take the hook here. Then if he wants to block either... Well, I guess the problem with this is he can like put the Hoarder in front of our Tentacle, and it's still not quite enough. Okay. It's a little unfortunate that we're just short of the Hoarder, but I wonder if he ever puts the Hoarder in front of Illaoi. That's a reasonable thing that they may do. Okay, okay. So our pants are down a little bit, right? We can't cast an Expanse's protection here, but we shouldn't have to worry about too much outside of like a Vile Feast. So I think we're safe in that sense. Illaoi flips and stuff, all pretty cool. A little short of Nagakaboros popping off, but he'll be up and ready on the next attack. We still got 3 cards left in our deck, and so no worries in that sense in terms of having enough time to end the game. I have Nagakaboros is not the one that you want to see here. You got 2 cards left in deck. That one is unplayable. Unplayable. What's the worst that happen here? He's going to come in and like hook Twisted Fate. As long as we don't lose our Tentacle, then I think we should be okay. Like we don't have to play Nagakaboros this turn. If he gets kind of crazy, right? If he's dropping Jal Hunters, then we have to do it now. But it was not a necessity up to this point. Oh shit, he did hit it up to 12. The mathematics are not my strong suit. Oh, are we going to get to do it? Are we going to get to Tantrum? Ooh. Market a W for Nagakaboros. And so good stuff. Good sets of games. GG's across the board. And this is the second one, right? This is the second tournament that we've taken down with this lineup. And again, it's not like super well tuned. This isn't a the best one in the format. And would I recommend you come out and play this lineup without a ton of experience? Probably not. Like that's the reason we're playing a lot of these decks is that I do like the Shyvana Pantheon deck. I do like playing Illaoi, and I still have in my head that I would like to fit Varus in as well and see if we can't just run this triple bruiser lineup because again I don't think triple aggro is that strong right now. Now granted I haven't played the who is it? We banned it like 2 or 3 times. I know what the deck is. It's like Gnar and some other champion. It's Bandle City Noxus. It's playing a bunch of burn and the regular the regulars you would expect coming out of all of the aggro decks with the Nox and Fervors and Crimson Pigeons and Decimates and all that shit. But I'm not entirely certain how good it is because there's a couple of points you have to kind of consider when you see all of those people that have hit Masters and are hanging out at the top of Masters right now. These are people that are exceptionally good. They're better than me. There's a decent chance they're better than you as well. And they're just playing the fastest deck in the format and punching right ahead. And you have to kind of like watch yourself. I didn't talk about it because I banned out the Nora Swain every time. But if you follow Drissoth on Twitter, he goes on and on about playing Lord Broadmain decks. And his triple lineup to bring into the format right now is his triple Lord Broadmain deck. And if those decks are good or not, it's kind of tough to decide because Drissoth's just better than everyone. That's one of the problems to where you have to kind of take his commentary with a grain of salt. But I'm curious if that's not the case with that, if it's even the best like Noxus deck in the format right now, or if it's even any good. And so that deck is running around, but like as we ran through this one, we didn't see any triple aggro. I don't suspect we're going to run into the Gnar aggro deck and Sunburn and Pirates. It's certainly a possibility, but it doesn't seem like it's ultimately too common. And so our deck, kind of fits through that. And then if you can ignore like Feel the Rush, I think everything else in between is pretty strong with what we're doing. And so I do feel like the balance of this lineup is a bit off. You're not looking to this space to where you're having 2 decks that completely smoke what you're doing, and that's coming up with a little bit more frequency than I like. But it's currently good enough to take down a lot of trophies with these. And so should you be capable of doing it with this? Absolutely. And so the last thing I have to think about these is it does feel like these are a little too long. I feel like the length of the event wouldn't be the problem except for 2 things. Number one, you are limited by time. And so for me to play these, I've had to kind of just like carve out an evening out of the week and say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take the 2 to 3 hours to fit it in, but I can't fit more of these in. I do think it's exceptionally good that you can resume the Rumble on a different day, but without being able to play these at any time, that doesn't make that much of a difference for me. And so I have 2-3 hours in the evening when I can pull off playing some of these games. I could probably play like 1 game a day or 1 match a day and not record it, but getting these events in for me is a little challenging at the current length, knowing that you're going to play between 6 and 9 best of 1 or best of 3s if you're going to make it there. If each one of those takes 20 minutes, 9 times 20 minutes is like 180 minutes. Is that right? Probably. It's probably close, and then that's like 3 hours. And I don't think that 3 hours is too long if you could play it any time of the day. And then I think the rewards also have to reflect the time investment. And that's just hard to tell. With this one, and we popped it off, and it said you got 9 trophies. I can't really equate what trophies mean to this thing because it's currently bugged. And if you have like a little bit more information in terms of what it takes to get these buys up here at the top for the Runeterra Open, or what it takes to unlock the various things across the board, then you have a little bit more knowledge. And so is a Prime Glory really like 10 trophies or 9 trophies? Like maybe if it was like 15 trophies, that would make a bit of sense. I'm not certain what the numbers are there, but it's I can't assess if the rewards feel like it's worth the amount of time that you put into it. But that's the kind of problem that you ran into with like, say, Expedition, is people didn't feel like the return was worth it because the gems were just so useless and the game was so easy to free to play that that aspect of grinding out expedition to get your core collection to play in constructed very cheaply didn't really matter. And so it's kind of tough to equate that last piece to it. But I have pretty good faith in Riot and adjusting everything as it needs to be to feel like a good experience. And so, nice set of battles. Victory was achieved, and that is going to do it for us today. And so, hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. So this is Bustin'. We thank you for being here.